So good afternoon, everyone. I am Emma Toops. I am the Executive Chair of American Warriors and the facilitator for the Purple Connection. The event is hosted and sponsored by Toops Consulting, LLC. David and I are connectors, coaches, and consultants in Toops Consulting, and we thank you all for being here. Welcome especially to those where this is your first Purple Connection event. For our new attendees, thank the person who invited you because they felt that you would fit in and benefit or contribute by being part of this community. To our regulars, it's good to see you again. So here is the event agenda. I'll be going through an introduction to American Warriors and the Purple Connection first, and then we'll start our educational networking program, which has 3 organizational representatives. They'll present in order, and then we'll have a Q&A with the panel as well as the community. The transition tips will follow the Q&A, and then I will start wrapping up the event with how to get involved with American Warriors in some future events, and then announce a preview lineup for next month and complete the meeting. So first, an introduction to American Warriors and the Purple Connection. American Warriors is a special interest group of the ACA Business Club, which is a private club with the philosophy that business flows out of relationships. People do business with those that they know, like, and trust. Thus, members are committed to creating solid connections through practicing and learning the fundamentals of strategic networking and relationship building. American Warriors then are club members who have an affinity with or support those who have served our country in military or public service. The mission statement of American Warriors is to provide educational and networking opportunities for patriotic citizens who are leaders in business and support the transition into private and public sector business of active duty service members and first responders. The Purple Connection is one vehicle that we have available for the American Warriors to fulfill its mission. So the challenges of transitioning military, this is a very well-researched problem. It's evident by the multitude of military support nonprofits and community organizations that provide services to address them. Driving Community Impact was a white paper published in April of 2015 by the IBMF of Syracuse University. And they determined after several years of research and thousands of surveys that the leading gap in services was not the lack of services and support, but the lack of connectedness of the services and support. Very often, transitioning military will feel a loss of purpose. They'll might feel isolated or misunderstood, or feel an overwhelm for their need of help, but are disconnected or lack affinity to the people and culture of their new environment. So how do you solve it? You create a partnership of stakeholders who have a common goal for supporting the American Warrior. The Purple Connection is a community of partnered stakeholders with a common focus of service, support, and care so that we can effectively address the challenges of transition. So what's up with the name? There's actually 2 reasons for it. In government jargon, the color for joint is purple. When our military is operating overseas on a deployment, the environment is comprised of a multitude of seemingly disparate entities with differing purposes, but they have a common purpose through the operation that unites and focuses their effort. So the Purple Connection is an attempt to replicate this type of joint environment to support the American Warrior in transition. Another reason is that when you combine the colors of red and blue, you get purple. So in the Purple Connection, we're facilitating the connection of individuals who identify more closely to either the military community or the military support and business community. And when they come together, it's a Purple Connection. Here are the vision and mission of the Purple Connection. We create awareness to enable access and then empower action through collaboration and encouragement to expedite reintegration, support growth and healing, and enable opportunities. We do this by regularly bringing together community experts and facilitate connections through educational networking. So here are the rules of engagement for our panel program and networking. Each participant will have 8 minutes to deliver their remarks. There will be a timer. The timer can be stopped short and given back for Q&A specific to themselves or used up entirely by the panelists. However, when the timer does go off, please wrap up if you're in the middle of speaking, and we'll move on to the next presenter. Once each panelist has spoken, there'll be 15 minutes for Q&A with the community. So if you're uncomfortable with public speaking or want to remain anonymous with your question, you can private chat or put it in the public chat, your question, and I will ask it for you. Please be succinct in your questions and direct them to a specific panelist or to the community if it's a more general question. If you have a complicated question, you may ask it to discover if a subject matter expert is in the audience. But if a response would take longer than 2 minutes to address it, I would recommend that you follow up after the event. After the Q&A, there will be 8 minutes for our transition tip speaker, who will provide an educational presentation for a paradigm or process shifts, or maybe some recommended resources that apply to the topic of the day. The topic of the day is credit and access to capital. After the presentations, if you have not already, share your information in the public chat. Provide a way to contact you if you want to be contacted, how you serve or need support from the community. The chat will be saved and all attendees will get a cleaned up copy in an email tomorrow. And then you can follow up with each other as you like after the event. I will do some event announcements and then wrap up the meeting. All right, so our first panel presenter is our veteran entrepreneur. Wes Kowalchuk is a business consultant and prior service member of the Canadian Armed Forces. He has started several businesses over the years and is also the team chair for the ACA club that will open up our network in the Canadian market. Wes, are you there?
I am, dear. Thank you very much.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get the timer up and you can start.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. I am Wes Kowalchuk with Business Impact. I essentially help business owners go from chaos to clarity in their business, help them identify what systems and processes they have to implement to grow their revenues predictably. That's a key word, predictable. Now, as some of you are veterans and you're looking to do that transition into, the public sector, one of the things that I encourage you to do is, if you're very involved in planning in the military, bring that planning with you, because planning is essential. Not so much the plan, but the planning is essential in growing your business. It doesn't have to be overwhelming. A lot of business owners struggle with, oh my God, I'm overwhelmed. I got to plan my business, and they get this deer in the headlights look and they glaze over, and paralysis sets in. So one of those things that I want to help everyone kind of work through is, you are not alone in joining and going through this business. This journey from veteran to entrepreneur, you don't have to do it on your own. You don't have to feel like you're the only, like that lone survivor on the island in the middle of the ocean. There is a lot of resources out there available to you. And, groups like what Emma's doing here with this networking group, this is powerful, because one of the cool things about you guys being here, that puts you in like the top percentage of business owners, because you're looking for ways to leverage relationships, you're looking for ways to leverage growth, and you're looking for ways to move your business forward, right? To get it out of the starting blocks and get it into success. And I want to share with you just a little bit about most most businesses have a life cycle. In fact, all businesses do. And you guys are probably either in that early startup stage, right? The early struggle, right? Trying to figure out how to get clients and verify or validate your product or your service. I want to encourage you, run hard, run fast, go lean, because your number one goal, write this down, your number one goal in startup is to get out of it as fast as possible, right? Once you're out of startup, you hit the second stage of growth. And that's the fun stage. That's where, you start making deals and then you hang up the phone and you go, holy crap, how do we do this? He ordered it. I don't know what to do. And then you go through that fun stage. You're trying to solve the problem, figure out delivery, get all that stuff going. And that's a lot of fun. And then you grow and you start making money, and then you start hiring staff. And then as you hire staff and you get to that miracle number of 5, complexity kicks in. You go, oh my God, how do I manage 5 staff? And of course, with military background, if you're NCO or you have a leadership role, you kind of have a little bit of a handle on that. And so it kind of sets you up a little bit advantage over most business owners, because most business owners don't have access to that kind of knowledge. Sometimes they're just winging it. But in that fun stage, as you add more staff, complexity kicks in, and that's where we call the whitewater, right? Where you're in your life vest is on, your oars in your hands, and you're in the boat and you're going down the rapids, but you don't know if you're going to make it to the end of the rapids in the boat or not. And every business has to go through this process. And this is where I encourage all of you guys, when you're in this space, when you realize you're starting to get stressed out, to reach out for help. Find a mentor, find a business coach, right? Find someone that you can count on, that you can trust, to help you navigate through that space, because every business has to go through it, and you have 2 options. The first option is get a mentor to help you grow through that. And then you can get into the 4th stage, which is predictable revenue growth, or you maximize your revenue because you can't go any further without adding more staff, and you back up and you go back into the fun stage, and you play in that little bit of chaos where it's fun, but you can't grow anymore. Your revenue's at a max, right? I want to encourage you, find a coach, find a mentor, find someone that you can count on that can help you navigate that whitewater. And really all the whitewater is systems and processes. Find the right staff, help them get the right training they need, and then help find high-performing decision-making people that you can build a team around, where you can be eliminated as the bottleneck in your business. Let them run the team, and guess what you got to do? You get to buy back all of your time, have all the money, and go have fun, do whatever it is you want to do. Do what it is that you started your business for in the first place, right? And I want to encourage you a couple of things. First one, figure out what your personal life wants. You want your personal life to be like, right? Figure out what goals, what kind of lifestyle you want to have. Figure out how much money that's going to take. And when you get that figured out, then sit down with that business coach or that mentor and help work through a business plan. It doesn't have to be a complex one, it could be a 1-pager, but figure out how your business needs to generate the money it needs to provide you with your lifestyle. Most business owners do it the other way around. They say, hey, when I get to this level in my business, we're going to go to Disneyland. Problem is the truck breaks down. Oh, we need a new transmission. I did that. I promised my family we were going to go to Disneyland and blew the engine in the truck. It was 20 grand. There goes our Disneyland trip. Boom, just poof, like that. So don't steal from your family. Make sure your business can provide what your family needs. Don't do it the other way around. And of course, once you get into the predictable revenue side of stuff, that's the fun place. You got to watch out though, as a visionary, as an operator, and as the processor all kind of mingle in there. If you get over processed and get too much documentation, too many processes going on, you end up on that treadmill, and that treadmill starts to go down the other side of that big curve. You want to stay on the top of the curve where it's fun, it's predictable, and you can enjoy your life. Right. So how many of you guys have a business coach right now or a mentor? Show of hands. 1, 2, 3, 4. Half the people aren't showing their pretty faces. So, that's a pretty good start, right? If you don't have a coach, why not? Right? Because a business coach, you want to get to where you want to go quickly, Get the business coach, because you want to hack a business, get a coach. They'll help you hack it. They'll help you get there quickly. Now, access to capital to grow fast, you need access to capital. There's a lot of different companies out there that have access to capital. You don't necessarily need it. What you do need is a strong cash flow. And if you can create a strong cash flow, you might not need the capital. But if you have strong cash flow and you do need capital, banks and lenders are going to be a lot more happy to lend to you because you can show strong cash flow. What is strong cash flow? Two things. First one is you need really good marketing to deliver consistent leads so that your lead count every month is predictable. If you need to grow your business by 10% every year and you do the math and you say, okay, we need 100 leads every month to make sure that happens, how does your marketing deliver those leads? Right? If you need to grow your business by 25% every month and you do the math and you need 250 leads, does your marketing consistently and predictably deliver those leads? And if it does, now you got predictable cash flow. You can grow your business as big and as fast as you want because you have that predictability on the marketing side of the business. I wish all of you really, I mean, that's about as fast as I can hammer. I don't know how much time I have left, Emma.
The timer just went off.
Perfect. I burned through a lot of stuff right there. If you guys have questions, feel free to reach out. I am a big resource. My goal is to create world abundance through business success. I want to help all the boats rise on that tide so we can all get off the sand and go have fun in the water. Love you guys.
Thank you, Wes. All right. The next presenter of our panel is going to be the representative for the community organization. George Bukaty is a career-long investment banker and an active member of the Greater Kansas City Navy League as an engaged citizen. He's currently a consultant to AltCap, which is an organization that is establishing a Greater Kansas City Veteran Loan Fund. George, are you there?
Yes. Thank you for today. Appreciate it. I'm here at AltCap with John Teasdale, who works for AltCap. I'm a consultant. I'm assisting them in raising $5 million for a veteran loan fund, which we just got word yesterday, a major player is going to be involved. We're looking to this group for veterans who want to start and create their own business in the greater Kansas City, within the state, maybe 2 states out, for investment money to buy, own. There's a lot of businesses, veteran-owned businesses that are owned by older veterans who would like to get out. There's obviously veterans coming off service that want to create their own business, and we're here to try to provide what we call micro loans, which are $25,000 to $50,000 loans. So we're working on that. We've just completed our first loan of $170,000, where we combined our $50,000 with Central Bank in Kansas City, who the president is a former Marine, and he's providing the backup loan to that. So I'm going to introduce John here to describe what AltCap does in Kansas City.
Thanks, George. So my name is John Teasdale. I'm Senior Business Development Officer at AltCap. Just real quick about AltCap. We are kind of our own unique animal. We are what's called a Community Development Financial Institution, or CDFI. So as such, our mission is to deploy capital in various forms to communities and demographics who, for whatever reason, may not be a good fit for Main Street financial institutions like banks or government agencies, for example, the Small Business Administration. So like George said, we are in the works to establish this loan fund for veterans and their spouses who are business owners or want to be business owners. Our funds are patient capital that can be used for basically whatever the business owner tells us they need it for. Like George said, we anticipate a big transition of business wealth in the forms of retiring veterans and who want to sell that business to another veteran so they can retain their veteran business status, disabled business status, etc. It could also be used to hire labor, purchase equipment, pay rent, pay down high interest debt, pay off credit cards. We're pretty flexible in what the funds can be used for. And the other, in my opinion, advantage that CDFIs have over traditional banks is we're also flexible on capital, or on collateral. I apologize, on collateral. The types of assets that we can use to title the loan correctly. We have a little bit more flexibility than Main Street traditional banks.
I think we're there. Like I said, we're looking for veterans that would like to create their own business and or buy something or finance what they have currently. In the Navy League, I've talked to several of our people over the years that have or operate businesses that maybe need a little extra here or there sometimes. So that's the purpose of putting this together. We don't see this being serviced in the Midwest right now, and that's why I approached AltCap about creating this fund. They've done millions of dollars in PPP loans, et cetera, to minority and WBE, MBE firms around the city. And so they have experience. They have a staff of 20 people. And not only do they provide the funding, they have staff to help those individuals run their business, advise them on how to operate and what to do next, those kind of things. So, it's more than that. We hold hands and counsel and make sure that, if the money's out there, we make sure it's issued right. So.
Okay, well, we have about 2 minutes and 50 seconds left in your 8-minute remarks. So I actually have a question that might be useful for you to share. So you're not a traditional source for loans, but how do people have access to it? Is there an application process? Do you have a brick and mortar? Do you have a registration process of some sort? What is the access avenue?
Yeah, so the easiest way to find us is our website, which is ALT as an alternative -CAP as in capital, alternativecapital.org. The application process is actually very similar to what a business owner might see from a traditional lending. A lot of our underwriters have SBA experience and do a great job of really working with veteran business owners on the application process. We do have a brick and mortar at basically 71 Highway and about Linwood, about 32nd Street, kind of east of downtown Kansas City. But our information is on the website. My information is on the website if you click on the team. We have about 4 business development officers. People can reach out to any one of them. Expect a call hopefully within 24 hours, if not less. And we look forward to getting the conversation started. And actually, to George's point, if for whatever reason we're not the best fit, we have different relationships and throughout the community where, for example, if a veteran business owner's credit is so poor that they're really not a good investment in terms of a bank or a CDFI, we have partnerships with credit repair organizations. That's something that we see pretty consistently, especially for startup organizations. And then they'll work with that organization for 3 to 6 months to get their credit under control, and then they come back to us and we can get the loan.
Okay, that works out perfectly. And we've got 30 seconds left in your time. And that actually is a great segue to our next presenter. Don't forget to share your contact information, your online presence link, and that sort of thing in the chat channel so that people have that later on when I share it with everyone. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move on to our next presenter. And our military-friendly company speaker is Paige White, who is the co-founder of ReScore, which is a company that helps people correct errors in their credit report and teaches ways for how to build a good score with good financial management habits. Paige, are you there? I saw you. There you are. You're muted. And you have your 8 minutes starting now.
Thanks, Emma, for the opportunity to get in front of these men and women here. And thank you, everybody, for your service. My dad and my stepdad both served in the Air Force. My dad was a lieutenant colonel, and my stepdad was a solar meteorologist. So I do appreciate everybody that sacrifices their time. So yes, as she stated, that was a good transition. I do own a credit repair company. It's women-owned, so we do take a lot of pride in that as well. And so what we do is we focus on trying to help any of our credit challenge clients get their credit scores up through education and deletion. The education factor is probably the most important part, because there's a lot of credit repair companies that might get things removed, but they're not truly teaching people what to do. So that's vital for us, because if we get things removed and you didn't learn anything, then how much of a value were we really to you? So it's important for us to help you learn to navigate through the system. And I kind of basically say, learn to play the game. And what I mean by that, there's little tricks of the trade and things that most people don't know, as far as credit card balances are concerned, or what type of credit to have, having that nice, strong, thick credit profile. One of the things that separates our credit repair company out from your typical credit repair company is that we do work together with attorneys, which gives us a lot of leverage. So your average credit repair company does write letters to the credit bureaus over and over again, and then they hope something gets removed. And I always say there's nothing wrong with what they're doing. But the leverage we have is because we send out a power of attorney on our client's behalf, we're actually requiring that these companies validate the debt as our clients and report with 100% accuracy. So they have to follow the laws of the FCRA and the FDCPA, and we can hold them accountable if they don't. But the other thing that people really love about us is we are pay for performance, and we don't charge a monthly fee. We don't drag people on and try to get that monthly fee out of them. We only charge for the negative items that we remove. So when people work with us or refer to us, they confidently do it knowing that we're going to get their client turned around with their credit as quick as possible. And we obviously have really high integrity, and our goal is to remove as much as we can, as fast as we can. So Emma, what we typically do, and everybody else, is we do a no cost, no obligation review for our clients. It allows us to look at somebody's credit report without them feeling like they have to move forward with us. So they don't have to put any money down. And we also educate them right off the bat. So we don't wait for them to sign a contract with us to do the education. We'll give them a bunch right up front after we do the review. We give them a price quote based on if we remove everything we talk about with them. And of course, we never can guarantee that, but we want them to know this is the most you'll ever spend. And then we do allow for payment and payment arrangements through the process. But also, just so you know, because obviously veterans have a special place in my heart, we do extend a larger discount to our veterans because it's really important that we spread this as a community, right? So the more people I can help, then the more people they're going to tell in that veteran community, and we can help rise people up, just like the other two gentlemen were saying, or Wes was saying, let's build them up let's get that boat up, right? And so if we can do that through financial planning, and we can do that through loans, and we can do that through better credit, we're all working together as a team to make sure that they're as successful as possible. So that's kind of the gist. And I'm happy to answer any questions, or if you have any more time left. Otherwise, I can wait till later.
Okay. Well, you have 3 minutes and 50 seconds left. If you want to give that back to the community, we'll just bump up the Q&A period by that much.
Well, how about
add,
I just give a couple quick tips then? Because I guess
there you go.
I thought. So 79% of people actually have errors on their credit report. And that a lot of that has to do with the fact that 80% of medical billing has errors. And so if you do seem to find that you have any type of medical collections or anything like that, our success rate with removing medical is higher than anything else. Also, another quick tip that people should know is that there's a difference between a Vantage score and a FICO score. So when you go to a credit monitoring site, you're going to get your Vantage score, which is a completely different scoring system than what a lender pulls. So a lender is going to pull FICO, and there's actually 56 versions of FICO, so that can make it even more confusing. So I would say on average, a Vantage scoring system is about 40 points higher. Now, I've seen it both ways, but if you go to Credit Karma or something like that and you have a 700, you're probably closer to about a 660. And there's just, like I said, just a little bit of a different scoring system. Also, when you pull your credit report with a credit monitoring site, it's always going to be a soft pull, so it's not a hard inquiry. And that's important because a lot of people think that they don't want to have their credit looked at because they think it's going to drop their score, but that's not the case. And of course, that's one of the reasons why you don't get your real scores, is because we're not having that hard pull, if you will. The last thing, little tip I always like to tell people, because this usually blows people's minds, is most people think that if they have collections on their credit report, they should pay them. But 9 times out of 10, if you pay your collection off, you'll actually drop your score. And that's because the credit bureaus don't recognize numbers when it comes to collections. They only recognize how many you have and the age of a collection. So if you pay it off, you actually end up with a brand new $0 collection to the day you pay it. And then it stays on there another 7 years. And most people just don't know that. And no collection company would ever tell you that, because otherwise you wouldn't pay your collections off. So that's usually one thing that kind of blows people's mind. And so our company tries to get them off without people paying them. And again, we have the leverage because we require that they validate the debt. So there's a couple tips for you.
All right, very good. Still just over a minute left in your 8 minutes. Anybody have a quick question for Paige?
I do. So what was that you just said, that if you pay off a collection, that's bad for you? I mean, I listened carefully, but for some reason that didn't quite make sense. Can you say that again?
You heard me right, Rachel. It goes against all common sense, and it's absolutely unfair, but the credit bureaus don't recognize numbers when it comes to collections. They only recognize how many collections you have and the age of a collection. So when you pay a collection off, you actually re-age the date of last activity to the day you pay it, and then it's going to act like it's a new collection. I don't set the rules, and I know it's completely unfair, but this is the reality of the world that we live in. I've been doing this 8 years myself, and I will tell you that it's not 100% of the time, but it is 9 times out of 10.
Wow.
That is new. I'm thanks for the information. Thankfully, I've never had it myself, but I've helped other people. And that one I didn't know. I know lots of other tricks about credit cards, but that one was new. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, we are done with the 3 organizational representatives speaking. So we are now in the Q&A period, which is 15 minutes. And this is open to the community. So if you have a specific question of one of our 3 expert panelists about their organization, about their business, about what it is that they're expert at, then now is the time to ask those questions. But also use this opportunity to ask the community if you have a more general question and you are seeking who is the expert, because they might be on this call or someone on the call knows who it is. So I'm starting the time now for Q&A. Who's got a question?
Hello, this is Amy Strother. I'll go. I have a general question for the audience. I am a current civil servant, prior Air Force vet, and I am trying to make that transition over to entrepreneurship, specifically real estate development.
All right.
Very difficult to find licensed and bonded general contractors in the Kansas City, Kansas, specifically Wyandotte County, or those who would travel to that area. So I'm looking for a general contractor to provide requests for proposal to. I've reached out to about 20 over the last 8 months, and the response has been a little bit lackluster. Something that I'm definitely not used to as a division chief of contracts for CENTCOM. So I gotta get used to a different pot. So I need some help on how to get in contact with these.
All right. Well, good that you asked. I know that we have a realtor on the call. Jan Soper is a realtor. I also know that we have a member of the Purple Connection who is in contracting as far as general contracting. He's not on the call today, but what I can do, if you put in your request for support into the chat channel, it will give me a memory jogger later on. And it'll also, for somebody who's not right now on their computer, they're AFK. It'll be something that they'll see in the email that I send of the chat channel, and then they can maybe follow up with you because they are someone that you want to talk to, or someone that they know is someone that you can talk to. All right, good question. Thank you, Amy.
Appreciate it.
This is George, Amy, this is George Bukaty. I'm in touch with a lady at KCI Airport, works for Bill Clarkson, and she manages 100 minority firms doing work at KCI Airport. She's been on numerous shows lately, but they train people and they have contacts. And Latoya Goree, Goree, is her name. She worked with me at UMKC for years in the economic development area there, but she's now a very important person with Clarkson and the whole group at KCI Airport. So
okay, very good. Please follow up after the event, share your contact information so that you can do that. All right, I have a question. I have a question for Wes. Okay, so Wes, you are a business consultant. And so you gave us some ideas as far as if we're already in business, as far as where we want to be, where we want to go. But what about like Amy, who's getting started in becoming an entrepreneur, and some of us who are just kind of maybe in the concept stage of entrepreneurship? Do you support business development or launching a business with your consulting?
That's a really good question, and unfortunately, no, I don't. But I do offer some free services that will help an individual figure out what it is that they don't know about growing business. I have what I call a do-it-yourself program. But here's a tip that I would suggest every one of you do. And I learned this from a book quite some time ago. I don't even remember what book it was in, but it was a consultant talking about, hey, if I want to build a hamburger stand, what is the one thing I need first before I even think about going down that road? Anybody have an answer?
You need a market.
For a hamburger.
Market, hamburger. How about a starving audience?
Yeah.
If you have a starving audience, you can charge whatever you want for the burger, make a lot of profit, and then grow. And so one of the challenges that we have as startups, we might have, I got this great idea, let's go do this. The problem is the idea might solve a problem that you think you have or you think is in the industry, but it actually might not be the true problem that's out there. So I would highly recommend go find a problem that is currently in an industry that you like or are passionate about, and then figure out how you can solve that current problem. If you can match those two things together, you'll be licensed to make money, right? Like it's one of those powerful
Very
things.
good. Okay. So this question was asked earlier of the loan fund. Paige, how do people access your service? You're muted.
Oh, am I still muted?
Is it for myself or the loan people?
We asked that question of the loan folks before, so they explained that and put some information into the chat channel. How do people access your resource page?
So I did put my information in the chat as well with my website, as well as my phone number and email. So they're welcome to look through there. And we have 8 credit coaches on staff. So we would put anybody that is looking to do a review together with one of our fabulous credit coaches. And then they basically we have all of our potential clients just sign up with a credit monitoring site. It's only $1 for the first 7 days. And then we basically can do the review from that. And that way they are not obligated to necessarily start the services with us, but it allows us to give them that opportunity to look over everything.
All right. How long does it normally take for someone to start working with you to get to where their report and their credit has been repaired? I mean, what kind of time commitment is that take?
Sure. Everybody's different for sure, depending on what your starting point is. And if you have any established credit already, anybody that has established credit is going to be a lot quicker in the process than somebody that needs to get something started, which will help educate them on how to do. My average client takes about 80 to 120 days to get in a better position with their credit. It doesn't mean we're going to be 100% successful, but it means if they've done all the things that we've recommended and they've given us that time and opportunity to work on their credit, that's the average time frame. I do have clients that, take the 6 months, some that take up to 9 months, just depending on, again, if they listen to all the things that we ask them to do and give us that opportunity to teach them.
All right, very good. Anybody have a question, general or otherwise? Oh, somehow my timer got paused. So I don't know exactly how much time we have left. Anybody have a question? Credit and access to capital. Okay, so here's a question, a general one. I don't know who ought to answer this, but something I learned when I started my business was that you want to have your business entity have its own financial identity. And so, part of the whole reason of doing that is if you are shoestringing it as far as your business, you want to establish that that business identities, financials, so that if anything does go wrong, they're not going after your personal finances. So the question is, do the folks who are a part of the panel, do you work specifically or not with businesses and their business entity finances and what that looks like? Or is it more or less one or the other, individuals versus business? So I know that Wes works with businesses. So Paige, do you work with just individuals and their financial picture, or do you also work with business? I think I said that wrong.
Yeah, basically on kind of that front, what you're doing is just like you said, you are creating its own entity. And so the most, knowledgeable or common place to start is Dun and Bradstreet to get that number. But there's a lot of different ways to build your business credit. I can give some guidance and advice, but we partner up with a gentleman here in Kansas City that specializes in business credit. So I always tell people, just because I have knowledge, I'm going to give it to the experts, and I can definitely refer out to him. He's fantastic. He's been doing it a long time. He's very knowledgeable. So, and getting that business credit established is going to help that entity.
All right. All right. Well, like I said, I don't know exactly how much time is left in the Q&A because somehow the timer got paused. If nobody else has a question, then we're going to go ahead and bring up our transition tip speaker. Now, Teresa is our transition tip speaker. She had informed me before that she is in the middle of moving, and so is probably just going to be talking to us via her telephone. And so there will not be her video. David, go ahead and leave her slide up so that we can kind of see her as she speaks, but let me introduce her. Let me see here. To teach us the transition tips today, we have Teresa McGarry. She is the founder and executive director for Money Talk Financial Foundations, which is a Christian nonprofit to help people become financially stable. And she's also the host of Financial Fix, which is an internet TV show. Teresa, are you on the call?
Yes, I am.
There you are. Great. You can start. You have 8 minutes.
Okay. So we were talking about transition, I guess, into more of a civilian life, right? Am I right, Emma?
Yes. So the transition tips could be, being employee to becoming an employer, could be, that whole thing as far as the credit stuff that we were talking about, or just any kind of transition tip that's kind of focused on the topic of the day.
Okay. So I will start real quick with a little bit about Money Talk and a little bit about Financial Fix. Money Talk is a 501c3. It's based here in the Kansas City metro area, but hopefully will grow much larger. The focus is helping individuals and families become financially independent through financial literacy, financial coaching, and ongoing support. And the ongoing support it's only available to those who are working with us to become financially independent, but it's things like they need help with their rent this month, or getting their car repaired, or groceries or gas money, that kind of thing. And there'll eventually be a free thrift store and food pantry and whatnot as well. There's some other programs planned, but we're just not at the point yet that those are up and running. So that's kind of our financial literacy, the nonprofit piece of it. And then back in April, I got blessed with the opportunity to host an internet TV show. And the host is focused on domestic abuse, those who have escaped, as well as who are currently in the recovering, transitioning, trying to figure out how to move ahead area. And so there are several domestic abuse specific shows and some teen health shows and mental health and things like that. Mine is Financial Fix, so it kind of fits in with the nonprofit. It is on Solwyn, which is Shining Our Light Women's Inspirational Network, available on Roku. And so anybody knows anybody who would be a great guest speaker. Mostly they want women, but that's okay. It can be either let Emma know and she can get the contact information to me. As far as a transition tip, so Money Talk Financial Foundation. So it's foundational. It's think of like the foundation of your house, and then you can build whatever you want up from there, as long as you have the basic foundations. That's really where we focus. And so the transition tips for the folks that I would be working with would be along the lines of, make sure you have a plan. So just to say, hey, I want to do whatever, and that's your dream. Well, the only difference between a dream and a goal is whether or not you have a plan. So start out with some kind of a plan. So I was hearing earlier, a business that you wanted to start. Well, find out whether or not there's a need. Well, that's a great place to start your plan. Step number one, find out if there's a need. Find out, create a budget, figure out what realistically, financially, you can actually afford to do and still keep your own personal head above water as far as paying your own bills. And you don't necessarily have to start huge. Maybe you can start in the dining room, in the garage, that kind of thing. So that's one thing. And then the other is, in line with the rest of the topic for this evening, is to pull and check your credit report. And while it is important, everybody knows to some degree that it's important to understand what's on your credit report, which is what I usually go over with my clients so that they can at least figure out how to pull it and what's on there. And then I would refer them to somebody like ReScore or somebody like Credit Law Center to help them with any repairs and corrections and things like that need to be done. But one thing to note on your credit report and the score is it's going to be used probably in places that most people are not aware of. And that could be, it's not just your interest rate for your credit report or the interest rate when you're getting a car loan, but it also impacts the premium of your auto insurance. It's going to be checked when you're applying for a job. And in the banking industry, I've had several folks tell me that they have to maintain a certain score and they actually get checked every single year in order to maintain their job. They have to keep their credit score in a certain range. And something I personally hadn't thought about, which is kind of surprising being that I run a nonprofit, but a lot of nonprofits actually check their volunteers' credit scores, because if you think about it, the volunteers have access to equipment, or maybe they're taking ticket money, or they have access to a lot of things that if they are personally struggling might tempt them to, let's say, have sticky fingers and things disappear from the nonprofit and just kind of, become a mess, get everybody in trouble. But anyway, just to say that one of the first things that you need to do is really, besides have a plan, create a budget, is to pull and check your credit report and make sure that gets cleaned up, because it is used in so many places that you may not even realize they're checking. So that's all I had down to as my transition tip. I'm not sure where I'm at time-wise, Emma, but any questions?
Okay, well, that was very good. Thank you so much. Had just a little over a minute left on your time.
Woo-hoo!
And so we'll go ahead and move on to me closing out the meeting with the future events and how to get involved. All right. Thank you to everyone who was part of our program and in informing and educating us today, and for those who asked questions. Okay, so for those of you interested in becoming more intentionally involved in facilitated conversations like the one that we have, some of the ones that have been started today, I invite you to consider becoming an American Warrior of the ACA Business Club. Becoming an American Warrior is becoming a member of the club. It affords you with many benefits. You have access to any of the ACA Business Club facilities, wherever they are. Access to over 20 interest groups where the American Warriors is only but one. You can join a business development team if you are really want to be intentional in your business development or your personal professional growth. You have access to all of the various club organized and sponsors events through the directory and through the members. For those who are located here or there, we have virtual as well as live events every week, and leadership opportunities for those who want to step up to lead either a team, a group, or a club location. There are plenty of opportunities to get engaged in your business or in your personal development. So the Purple Connection and Strengths Profile workshops are things that occur every month and are sponsored, organized, and facilitated by me in my company, Tubes Consulting LLC. American Warriors are encouraged to attend and invite guests to participate in those because they do support transitioning military and the purpose of the American Warriors. And then the American Warriors specific group meets every fourth Thursday, virtually or in person, 2 to 3 p.m. At the Overland Park or through Zoom. And we have a discussion about something kind of similar to like what we are doing today, but it's a little bit more like a mastermind. Attendance is open to American Warriors and their guests, so any club member can also attend those things. We have an American Warriors social and guest speaker program that is semi-annual. And whoops, what happened? David advanced the slide before I was ready. And also the opportunities to be part of American Warriors leadership with the executive committee or a club. So future events, American Warriors discussion group this month, next week, is going to be focused on human resources. So I'll facilitate the conversation on different words that mean different things to different people, depending on where they are in their transition or whether they are in the community. The next Intro to Strengths Profile workshop is the first Thursday, so November 4th. The first 30 minutes is informational and is free. It introduces to you what is Strengths Profile as an assessment and its value as a tool. And then those who decide they want to take the assessment, remain for the remainder of the workshop for a small fee to get the assessment survey and their intro report. The Purple Connection, which is this event, is every third Thursday, virtually on Zoom, 4:30 to 5:30 p.m. Central. Okay, next slide. So next month, our program is on November 18th, and this is our lineup. Our veteran entrepreneur is going to be Mary Varela Spooner, and she is a Navy veteran. Her business is HR Mavis. Our community organization is going to be the program manager, Erica Lee, of the local Hire Our Heroes. Our military-friendly company representative is going to be John Buckley, who is the outreach strategies manager of Koch Industries. And the transition tips will be me with Tubes Consulting. I'll be talking a little bit about solving the transition puzzle in a paradigm that I offer for how you can get onto what's next. The November event also is our last program event for the Purple Connection this year, because in December, we're still going to get together, but it's going to be a social. So save the date for that. It's going to be a fun facts sharing event where start thinking about 3 fun facts, but fudge one, because it's going to be 2 truths and a lie that we're going to be playing. And so that's the December program. All right. Feel free to contact me for anything that was offered in the program that maybe you didn't catch. And I will refer you to the appropriate person. If you have any questions whatsoever about any of the events and ways to engage, contact me. All right. In a few weeks, some of you will receive an invitation for TPC referrals. So this is an opportunity to intentionally connect with me and 3 other members of the community. Those invited are actively engaged in the military support community. They're growing their business. They're an American warrior or in transition already, and have a server leader mindset. So this is kind of a 20-minute opportunity to kind of speed network, but really kind of get to know a little bit more about each other, because in this vehicle, there's only a few who actually talk. Sign up for that appointment to learn more about each other, and then ask for and receive support specifically from other members of the TPC community. All right. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Have a very good evening. Follow up with each other. I will be sending out the saved chat channel probably late tomorrow, and we'll see you at a future event. Thank you, everyone.